lago sezinyawo zami ngiyasabela ngiyabuza amabali ingqondo yami ngisusa amashatu ubuqilano nokuzingawaza ngiyesuka kukho ngiyazikhumbula
Galaxies, where Sagwiskat is a quilly below Yako. 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 Sabe. Galaxies, where Sagwiskat is a quilly below Yako. 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 Sabe. Sagwiskat is a quilly below Yako. Sagwiskat is a quilly below Yako. Sagwiskat is a quilly below Yako. Sagwiskat is a quilly below Yako.
We are Zola Bantu. We live in love, we live in purity, we live in justice. We are priests, we are scientists, we are judges. The three pillars of spirituality. We bring together the best of us, we build together, we don't destroy.
Welcome, children of Africa, members of Zola Bantu class. We love you so much as Zola Bantu. We at Zola Bantu, we live in love, we live in purity, we live in justice. We are priests, we are scientists, we are judges. The three pillars of spirituality. We bring together the best of us. We build together. We do not destroy. We love you so much, my dear brothers and sisters of Africa. I know it's been a long time that we have not met in this class to continue our classes because I was traveling. I was taking most of the classes in India, where I was living as a student and then working for some time. But now the Most High has directed me into another phase to return back home to the continent to return back home to Mother Africa, to return back home to the source, to return back home to the cradle of humankind, back home in the heart of Africa, in the beautiful nation of Congo, where the first civilization began. I want to appreciate you all for showing us so much love and so much prayers, and all those that really sent their prayers for me and also my family and also my father who was not feeling well. Those of you that supported us in all the means, we love you so much. I want to welcome you to class number 40 of Zola Bantu. Right now I'm on the continent. I was in Kinshasa in Congo, and now I'm currently in Lubumbashi. We have our house construction over here. I'm trying to supervise for some time. I think in a few weeks I'll be in Zambia, and probably in March I will be with my brothers and sisters who are basically in Azania. I love you all, my dear brothers and sisters. Those of you who have really been patient and showing us love, members of the Zola Bantu class. I want to send my greetings to Queen Wildad, and also Brother Imakumbuli, King Lebo, Brother Amos, Queen Anne, Queen Asia, Mr. James Fuller, Queen Lizzie, Brother Moffat, and many of you as well who are part of our class. We love you so much. Thank you so much for making the time to listen to this class in a pre-recorded message, because the network here is very difficult to be able to come online on the Zoom like how we did, having it live. But I know you'll be watching this live because it will be scheduled for live on Sunday at 2 p.m. GMT. We love you so much. Basically, in our last class we spoke about basically femininity and masculinity, the activities of the spirit. I hope many of you will be able to revise this class. And our next class basically is on the profanation of the masculine and the feminine activity. My dear brothers and sisters of Africa, Zola Bantu is basically a spiritual organization preparing humanity for the reign of 1,000 years. And we're also here to awaken the conscience of humanity. We basically are preparing humanity for the reign of Kwatulendo, the reign of 1,000 years, coming very soon in the heart of Africa. We also have projects basically of education, like how we're doing right now, teaching to awaken the conscience, food production, also army, media, and also the restoration of the African woman. If you're interested to be able to be part of our projects, please do contact us so we can be able to add you, so you can be able to be part of our project, to really participate as we try to prepare humanity for the reign of Kwatulendo, the reign of the Divine King. We have basically introduced a new initiative in Zola Bantu entitled Zola Bantu Trust, to be able to raise funds, to be able to fund the vision that we have at Zola Bantu to build a Zola Bantu community across the entire Africa. And our goal basically is to have 100 members that contribute about $55 a month. We have people who have begun even at 20 and 30 and 40 and now even 55. We currently stand at basically 8 members. We would like to invite you to be part of this fund and this trust fund if you really want to see change, and we want to be able to see how we can raise some funds to finance African projects, those that are basically interested in building amazing projects in Africa, to be able to help African people in all the areas of life. So come and join the Zola Bantu Trust Fund. We love you so much, my dear brothers and sisters. If you can see that the Zola Bantu class has 5 modules: Foundation 18 chapters, Life 101 has about 20 chapters or more, and then we have Spiritual Awakening and the Wake Up of the Conscience, and then we have Mission of a Woman on Earth for our queens to know what is your mission as a woman, and also Dead in Spirit, which basically has about 15 chapters but very, very long. We shall break it down. And right now we are in Life 101. We have already covered a lot, over more than 20 classes, and we begin basically with the foundation class, where we spoke basically beginning with the paradigm, and we ended the first module with African medicine versus Western medicine. Please go through these classes to be able to catch up with us. And we began the module in Life 101, and it began in class number 19 with the Creator in existence and His creation. We covered so many amazing topics over there, and our last topic that we had basically was on femininity and masculinity in a new Africa. How are we going to be able to manage our feminine and also our masculine activity as human beings? So today we're going to basically look at the profanation or the abuse of masculinity and femininity of human spirits. We have abused the use of our energies in the right way, my dear brothers and sisters of Africa. So you can see, my dear brothers and sisters of Africa, I'd like to welcome you to this class number 41. And as Zola Bantu, we are trying to awaken the conscience of humanity, to prepare humanity for the reign of Kwatulendo, the reign of 1,000 years. So today we shall look at basically the profanation of the masculine and the feminine activity of human spirits. So we send you our greetings, all of you, working very hard to be able to prepare your hearts and your soul and your mind for the reign of 1,000 years and the reign of Christ. We send you our profound salutations, because here at Zola Bantu, we're trying to voice out. We're trying to voice out the teachings of Mfumu Yesu. We're trying to remind you the teachings of Mfumu Yesu. Mfumu Yesu said at the end of time that he will ask the Father to send to us another consolator. This is found in John chapter 14 verse 16. And Mfumu Yesu called this consolator the Spirit of Truth, the Holy Spirit. Mfumu Yesu said this consolator will come to remind us of his teachings. And this consolator came and incarnated the body of Mfumu Kimbangu in 1887, and he began his mission. Unfortunately, he was arrested because Mfumu Kimbangu, or Simo Kimbangu, was a Congolese religious leader who basically founded the Christian religious movement Kimbanguism. Even though the Kimbanguism of today is not what he left behind, but people have manipulated most of his teachings, but he came to remind us the teachings of Mfumu Yesu. There are also many messengers who came in this time of judgment, like Ne Mwanda Semi in the Congo and many others across the entire Africa. When the Most High sends his messengers, he sends them in three categories. Some come as priests, it means teaching you the word of the Most High. Some come as scientists to bring new invention and new technologies. And some come as judges, and means they are involved in the governance. So you can be a servant of the Most High in these three areas: as a priest, as a scientist, and as a judge. Zolangangu lendo nsaku mpamvu nzinga makuku matatu malamba Congo. So here at Zola Bantu, we are servants of the Consolator, the Holy Spirit, preparing you, humanity, the bride, for the wedding, to meet the groom, the divine king, in the reign of 1,000 years. So my dear brothers and sisters, today we're going to look at basically the profanation of the feminine and the masculine activities of human spirits. My friends, these days we live in a materialistic civilization. In the civilization of today, as spirits that we are, we wear what we call bodies or envelopes, but unfortunately the spirit no longer has the force, or is no longer in command of all the material envelopes that the spirit wears. Today, the spirit is placed on the side like a prisoner. We are therefore dead in spirit. It is the intellect and is controlling basically our envelopes. Well, these envelopes need to be controlled by the human spirit. And this has led to some sort of a disequilibrium that we see today in the systems of the current civilization. And this system is a shame for humanity. To better understand the decay of human activities, we're going to do a small introduction on the real sense of our life here on earth. We are on earth, but what is the sense and purpose of why we are here? Are we on earth to travel, eat, and dress up? You have a job, you buy a house, and you die. Is that the purpose of life? What is the sense of life on earth? Brothers and sisters, the sense of our life on earth is first of all spiritual. A human is a spirit that habits or lives in a body. This you know very well. We are therefore spirits that live in a physical body. And the spirit came to earth to increase in wisdom and in knowledge. We are here on earth to gain wisdom, spiritual maturity. This is the first point. To gain wisdom, to acquire spiritual maturity. We are basically here on earth to acquire the knowledge of the cosmos, because through the knowledge of nature, its structure and its functioning, we can meet our existential needs. So we are here on earth basically as spirits to gain virtues. Here we send you to the book of Galatians chapter 5 verse 22, where Apostle Paul names the 9 fruits of the Spirit, the 9 virtues of the Spirit. He summarized, there are many, but he summarized them into 9. He spoke of love, joy, peace, kindness, gentleness, self-control, goodness, faithfulness, and there are many other virtues of the Spirit. So we are here on earth so that through these activities that we engage in, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, a pilot, you need to be able to see how you can cultivate these virtues into your different activities to be able to attain a spiritual conscience. Secondly, we are here on earth to eagerly learn how to be a blessing to others, to be a blessing to humanity in our activities, in our way of life, in everything that we do. Everything that we do, we need to be able to bless humanity. And thirdly, we are here on earth to be able to discover the truth. From Jesus said that you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. We are here to discover the truth, to discover the Most High, and to have an intimate relationship with the Most High. See, therefore, these are basically the needs or the objectives of the Spirit when He incarnates or when she incarnates here on earth. So the Spirit left the spiritual kingdom and we came to the earth with the hunger of acquiring wisdom, knowledge in the possession of virtues, and to be a blessing to humanity. Once we have cultivated this knowledge and wisdom to help the weak and exchange with others, so that at the end we all can be able to go towards spiritual ascension. And constantly, as we live in this post-creation, we need to do some research. We have to do some research in nature to understand how nature functions, because this is our home at the moment. So we have to be able to research to understand the truth that is crystallized or hidden in nature. And so for the Spirit to do that, He needs to construct a very good ecological environment for the Spirit to be able to meet His preoccupations of why He came to the earth. There's a need for Him to live in a good environment, an environment where there is a respect of the laws of nature, an environment that is less polluted by economical activities, an environment where there is a respect of the flora, the fauna. It means the animals and the vegetations need to be respected. An environment where we remove all sorts of genetically modified organisms and non-biodegradable products like plastics. An environment where if we indulge in applicable science and technologies, we need to keep watch that these technologies should not be destructive to our health and also the environment. And so for this, there's a need for us to organize ourselves. We need to organize ourselves on an individual level, as an individual. On the individual level, for example, there's a need for a human to know that you are a spirit. A spirit basically uses three major instruments. We spoke about this: the mental instrument to produce thoughts, the mental body; the astral instrument to feel and express those thoughts in the terms of emotions and feelings; and then finally we have the physical instrument to be able to manifest whatever is in our mind physically into the environment, to colonize the earth, make the earth like heaven. So for this to happen in the education of a human, in his or her instruction, there's a need to teach the human how to use those instruments, how to use the mental body, how to use the astral body, and even the physical body. There's a need for humans to be able to organize ourselves to be able to achieve this. And in the schooling or the apprentice of the usage of these bodies, this is what we call the master or the activation of the chakras, the centers of energies in our spiritual and physical anatomy, because the spirit will use the mental body. So there's a need of a point of junction or connection of the spirit and the mental body. And this point of junction that connects the spirit and the mental body in the human body is located by the solar plexus. It is the center of energy that permits the spirit to interact with its mental body to use it in a better way. And the human spirit, through its apprenticeship and his initiation, they have to be able to initiate this spirit in the right way to better understand his or her mental body through the heart chakra. So the spirit also needs to use his astral body. There's also a point of junction between the spirit and the astral body that is called the sacral chakra. And throughout our spiritual life, we need to be initiated to well master and pilot these centers of energy so that our spirit can pass on good feelings and good emotions through the chakra of the astral body. And we have to be able to use our physical body. And well, our spirit also has a point of junction with the physical body, and this point of junction or connection with the physical body is called in Congo ancestry Mwele Muzizi, the root chakra by the penis or the vagina. And this chakra develops normally around 16 and 17 years, when you are 17 or 8 or 16 or 17 years, and starts even early by 14 years when you reach puberty. So there's a need for a child. There's a need for men and women also to be initiated to understand that their spirit needs to use these three bodies and use them in a vibration of love, purity, and justice. This is the eternal gospel. But today, in the dogmas and precepts that they gave us, we have no understanding of the chakras. While it is fundamental to arrive, it's fundamental to understand the chakras to be able to arrive to be baptized by the Holy Spirit. There's a need for your 7 chakras of your bodies to be well used by your spirit, so that finally the force of the Holy Spirit can penetrate you, so it is work on the individual level. And then once we have organized ourselves on the individual level, we need to be able to organize ourselves in the family level. So in the level of the family, we said last time, we said that the family is the cell of the human ecosystem. It is therefore the atom of humans. Where there is a man and a woman, we need to be able to understand the activities of one and the other, and how to marry these two activities, so that the light of the Most High can be able to circulate well in the family. And when many different families live in an area, it forms a clan. And when many tribes and when many clans come together, they create a tribe. And when many tribes come together, they create a region. And we also need to know how to organize ourselves so that our regions can be managed in such a way that it does not it does the promotion of light of the Most High in the family and also in the individual. So there is a best need for the organization of the region, so that the families that live in these regions, the castes that basically constitute these regions, can be well managed for the glory of the Most High. See, therefore, the civilization we need to be able to build in the heart of Africa. We need to see how we can be able to constitute and federate a state. So a state physically, so when different regions come together, they create what we call a state. So we shall see how we're going to constitute one state. So a state finally becomes a federation of regions or provinces with one goal of guaranteeing the security of a people, family, clans, and tribes that live in that particular regions, to be able to have a good experience in the spirituality. So at this point, there's a need basically of an organization, individual organization, family organization, regional organization, and the federation of these regions that we call a state or country. And this good organization is only possible if we respect the principle that directs the universe, the laws of nature, the laws that lead this invisible and the visible universe needs to be respected. If we do not respect the laws that direct the visible and the invisible universe, you would then understand that we shall do an organization that is completely opposite to what we're trying to propose here. So we have to organize ourselves. It is our responsibility as a region, as a state, to invest in the research of these laws. These laws are nothing but the verb of the Most High. The word of the Most High is crystallized, it's found in nature, like Harmful Mess used to say, don't you observe nature? And when we shall discover these laws, we shall transpose it into the universe of humans. So the laws of the humans in our organization need to be just. When we shall do laws on the family, we shall do laws on our regions, for example, whether it is in the aspect of agriculture, industrial, or even commerce, or even in interregional exchanges. There's a need for these laws to be just. There's a need for these laws to assure social cohesion and human cohesion. This is the word of the Most High. So if we do not do this, we will not be able to attain the goal of existence, of why we arrived here on earth. And once we have basically organized ourselves in this way, in the interior level and also at the level of the state, we need to now subscribe ourselves to international treaties with measure and condition, where these treaties promote an ecological humanity. We cannot enter into treaties of domination. No. We cannot enter into a treaty where there's so much cohesion and so much domination of the South to dominate the North, or the North dominate the South. We need to ban this sort of treaties from the planet, to only embrace treaties that promote humanism, treaties that promote research and the promotion of spirituality. My dear brothers and sisters of Africa, to assure and meet the needs of the spirit, we said we need to organize ourselves, and we have to be able to indulge ourselves in economical activities. Yes, because we need to satisfy our temporary needs during our temporary life on earth, because we need to be in good health. We need to eat, we need to drink, we need to assure certain services of transportation, communication, and even exchanges. So we need to set up and place industrial platforms of service, good politics of living, even security aspects. All this is what constitutes the togetherness of an economic activities or activities to respond to the temporary needs of a human. So that finally the spirit does the work of searching for wisdom, the research of wisdom, and also virtue. So we work on the economy to see that we have a good mental health and good astral health, and also good physical health. And the physical health at times needs a good environment. The astral health needs us to make a good astral environment through the promotion of culture and language. And the mental health demands the production of health, good philosophies, good concepts, good approaches on the intellectual level to better grasp the problematic that we shall solve to better live in society. And all this, there's a need for universities and schools. And why are we doing all this? We are doing the promotion of the eternal gospel. Spirituality is wisdom, my dear brothers. It's not abracadabra. In the promotion of the eternal gospel, you have understood that it will meet the satisfaction of the need of the spirit. But to meet the satisfaction of the need of the spirit, there's a need of ecology, a need of economy, there's a need of an organization. When you do not have all this, you cannot become a spiritual man and woman. No. And the current church has sinned, because now the word of the Most High is now in religious shops known as churches. But people have no control of ecology, of the environment. You have no control of the organization as an individual up to the state. You are not the master of economic activities. You consume GMO foods that they have made for you a pharmacy that is contrary to the respect of the laws of nature, and where you cannot control the evolution of your spirit. So we cannot say we are making progress in the emancipation of the spirit if we have no control of the environment in which we live in. Now, to do all this, to be able to meet this spiritual need for the spirit to ascend in wisdom, for the spirit to rise in knowledge, for the spirit to possess virtues, for the spirit to be in solidarity and to be a blessing to others, for the spirit to be able to search for the truth, for the spirit to be baptized by the Holy Spirit to the opening of the chakras, for the spirit to organize him or herself at an economical level, for the spirit to keep watch of ecology, for the spirit to have a good organization individually, family, and even state-wise. My dear brothers and sisters, to do all this, the Most High has gifted us with two spiritual activities. They are the two types of spiritual activities. We insist they are spiritual activities to respond to this civilization goal, to respond to this temporary spiritual need. And it is these activities that we call the masculine activity and the feminine activity, as we explained last time. So my dear brothers and sisters, we said that the masculine activity has the goal essentially of transforming matter, the material world, into forms that are much closer to the celestial tabernacle. The first heavens, the spiritual kingdom, is a tabernacle where there is the holy place, and then we have the Holy of Holies. There is the very holy place, the home of the Holy Spirit, and then there is the holy place, the home of the primordial spirits. And then we have the pavement, which is basically the outer courtyard, is the home of the spirit of evolution. Look at the illustration, right? So it is well organized. We therefore need to transform the material universe that we are in to make sure that these material universes become the earthly tabernacle of the image of what is in heaven. Like how the Most High gave the instruction to our ancestor Massa or Moses. So the masculine activity, it is an activity that takes the elements of nature that Sir Dimitri, for example, Mendeleev, placed in the periodic table. It takes the atoms, the molecules, and we try to see how we can transform this post-creation. Each country in what it concerns them, each region in each country, the family, the clan, the tribe, each with the responsibility they have, need to transform this creation to a place of worship through the use of the masculine activity. My dear brothers and sisters, finally, the eternal gospel says this exercise of bringing heaven to earth, it is what we call the culture of beauty. To make sure that the individual environment, whether it is basically in the inside of you or outside of you, you need to vibrate in spiritual beauty. That your family can vibrate in beauty. That the regions should vibrate in beauty. That the state should vibrate in beauty. That the economical activities should reflect light of the Most High. So all this creates a culture of beauty to satisfy the needs of our time here on earth. So our time here on earth, we cannot cultivate violence like how we see today. We need to be able to cultivate what is beautiful and what is worthy of being elevated and worthy of praise. Whether it is in the presidency of the republic or in the institution, in the family, as you as an individual, we need to learn to cultivate that. This is the responsibility of the one that received the masculine activity, the man. He swore an oath before the Most High that you come into this physical dimension to assure the transformation so that finally matter can reflect in a temporary life that we are in right now, the celestial tabernacle of the Most High. Well, this is the duty of the one that basically practices the masculine activity, the males. Now, the feminine activity, the spirit that chose to wear this activity here on earth, the feminine activity are women. They come to conserve throughout this transformation the sacred love, sacred flame of love, justice, and purity. It means the fruits of the Spirit during the building of the tabernacle on earth. So let's resume. The man who wears the masculine activity transforms the earth to make a big church. People are placed aside for the glory of the Most High. In their activity, they organize themselves in consequence. They maintain a good ecology and they choose noble activities or occupations or different fields of life on the level of the economy. All this so that the spirits through these activities can rise in knowledge and in virtues. But for this to happen, because these activities that they engage in as the men move them away from the Most High because they are so attached to the material world, there's a need of another activity. Spirits that have chosen the feminine activity, and these spirits come through the exercise of masculine activity on earth to guard the sacred flame, the flame of love in the family, in the individual, in the region, in the country, maintaining love, maintaining divine justice, maintaining this flame of purity. And these spirits wear the mental envelopes, the astral envelopes. They also wear the physical envelopes that you see on the outward, that are basically adapted to their activity to help them to better act in the sense of guarding and conserving the sacred flame. See there, my dear brothers and sisters, the two types of activities that we need at all time to use while we are doing our experience here in the physical dimension. Finally, you have understood that the society needs absolutely to organize itself in a atom, in a cell, a binomial cell where two spirits are united with these two activities. One, the masculine activity, is there to transform, and the other is there to watch that this transformation stays in the light of the Most High. So this cell, this union cell, the society, for example, organizes itself in this cell of masculine and feminine activities to attain the objectives of our time here on earth, which is basically the spiritual maturity of our spirit. In other words, they call it ascension. So the family is a cell of positive and negative, masculine and feminine, and these different cells form clans, and different clans form tribes, and different tribes form regions, and the federation of these regions forms what we call states. So the family cell up to the regional cell and the state cell needs to be inscribed into the civilization of light that can reflect the light of the Most High, the light of divine justice, and the light of purity of the laws of creation. So we transform this society. We assure we assure our vital needs and our temporary needs in respect of the values and also respect of spiritual virtues. There's a need to develop a language of communication, clean languages. It is totally absurd in a clan, in a region, in a family to speak a language of foreigners. We need to therefore do a culture of light in harmony with the verb of the Most High. We need to have clean technologies. We need to have a temporary activities which are based on a clean economy. Today, many people are speaking of rural development because people have realized that the capitalist model has failed. So by this way, each state and nation becomes an entity of light with its own specifics, and each state is there in service of the enrichment of humanity. See therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, how things are supposed to be and how things should have been done. But unfortunately, we have not done things in this way. That is the need of today's topic, the profanation, the abuse of these human activities. Which are needed for our existential goal to be able to attain the spiritual maturity of our spirit. And for the spirit to arrive at spiritual ascension, we need to identify the domain of our spiritual maturity, namely to be able to acquire wisdom, acquire virtues, solidarity. This is what we call spiritual elevation. But for this to happen, there's a need of an organization. There's a need for an individual to be formed in the interior master of his or her chakras, the centers of energies. It means the points of junction of their spirit with their different bodies the spirit wears to permit the spirit to better use his or her body. The mental body, the astral body, and even the physical body. We also need to organize ourselves at the family level, meaning to have some sort of a family atom and a cell where there is complementary between the spirits. The spirits are hermaphrodite, as we mentioned in the introduction. It means when they come to the post-creation, especially in this dense, heavy matter, they chose each one activity, either the feminine activity for the others, and for the others, the masculine activity. And from these choices, they give them tools or bodies to engage in that activity, and these tools are different from the bodies that they wear. So for the women, since they chose the feminine activity, they wear the feminine mental body to realize the activity they chose of guarding the sacred flame of love and purity in the society, in the family, and in the state. And if the spirit chose the masculine activity, he wears the masculine mental body to help him to better master the material world and to transform the material world, to make this place the image of the tabernacle of heaven on earth. And at the same time, these materials, these different bodies that we wear, it needs to be fed. It needs to be in a good health. It needs to drink. It needs to live in a comfortable habitat, in a secured environment, a place of clean exchanges, because one cannot do everything. Others will do something else, and others will do something else, and there will be exchanges. There will be a need for markets and money exchanges, for example. That's the necessity of organizing our economical activity. This economical activity needs to be just. And those that are accepted to play the role of femininity need to watch in the exercise of the economic activity, that there is divine justice. Love should reign in our temporary economic activity, and the exchange should be respectful of the laws of creation. We also need to be able to keep watch of the environment, watch out for the laws of nature, watch out at social organization, social cohesion, even international treaties which are engaging. It needs to do a promotion of ecological humanism. See, therefore, for all this to be done well, we have two major activities: the feminine activity and the masculine activity, as we have explained. Unfortunately, brothers and sisters, we have not built a civilization of light. We have not built a civilization where we have placed in our heart to conserve the love of the Most High. We have not built a civilization where we have placed our heart to conserve the justice of the Most High. We have not placed in our heart to conserve the purity in the fruits of the Spirit, and thus we have fallen. The earthly tabernacle was turned into derision, mockery, and ridicule. We have not built the tabernacle according to the model that was communicated to us by Massa or Moses. We have created associations. We have created whatsoever. We have made separation of powers, democracy. It means the civilization of today is not a civilization where the peak of development is the stability and success of the family. We have not organized ourselves in an atom, in a cell of spirits, where others should perform the masculine activity and others should perform the feminine activity, to create a sacred union that we call marriage and develop virtues that basically are sacred in that union, to try to work in the post-creation, and later this sacred union will receive other souls that they will form, that they will transmit values of light, so that they too can assure the continuation of light in the society. All this we have not done because we did not cultivate good languages. We have not done a culture of languages. We have not taken account of the verbs of the Most High. We have created improper technologies, my dear brothers and sisters of Africa. Now let's look at the profanation. How have we abused the feminine and the masculine activity? The profanation of the human spirit activities has given birth to so many things. We shall be able to enumerate them here. Firstly, human beings have become enemies of truth. Humans have become enemies of justice, and as enemies of truth and justice, we have then taken the time to reverse the true sense of these activities of the humans on the earth. And we have reversed the role of each of these activities on the earth. So the feminine activity that consists of guarding the sacred flame, it is no longer that activity that consists of guarding the sacred flame. Observe, do the spirits that inhabit the body of women today, are they formed to watch that they guard love in the family? Are they formed to watch that there is justice in the family? Jackson, are they canal of radiation of justice? So that those who are basically working in the economy, those that are working in the environment, can at all times be attached to the right source? Not at all. So the enemies of truth have basically arrived to completely remove the good understanding of the feminine and the masculine activity in the universe of humans. Secondly, these activities are no longer led by the spiritual man. It is the animal man that drives these activities, because to be spiritual, to be a spiritual man, you need to do some work on the level of your chakras. It means only the spirit needs to pilot those three bodies that you wear. It is the spirit that needs to be in command of the mental body. It is the spirit that needs to be in command of the astral body. It is the spirit that needs to be in command of the physical body. In our schools, the instructions that we give to our children, do we teach them that it is the spirit that needs to command their physical body? They do not even know that the spirit exists. We are in a society where we ignore the presence of the spirit. A human has become animalized. He or she has become an animal man or woman, and we spend our time forming the animal man with concepts and ideas and not the spirit. Even the activities which were in the beginning the activities of the spirit have become the activities of the animal man. And in consequence, there is no more beauty. It means there are no more fruits of the spirit. There is no more peace. There is no more peace in the family. There is no more peace between the regions, between the states. There is no more peace. The state has become a state of mad people. So these activities are no longer spiritual. Thirdly, not only are the activities no more spiritual, but these activities, since they have been reduced to the animal man, there is rivalry between these activities. Instead of these activities being complementary, there is a heavy competition, feminism. Man fights with his wife, fights in the family. The issues of the family are taken to the courts of law. Serious problems in the families. There are even unions that end in deaths. A man or a woman kills his or her partner. Children are murdered. A person is poisoned by his or her partner because one needs to gain money and gain the life insurance of the other partner. All this means we have lost the sense of the existence in our humanity. On the fourth point, the human couple now comes together for sexual pleasures and the accumulation of material things. While in the beginning a family came together or was created for the ennoblement of our human spirits during our time on earth, it means two spirits come together to help each other mutually, to finally enable their spirit to help each other spiritually. And this is what marriage is. Marriage is a union of two activities to help each other mutually to finally attain spiritual ascension or to attain consciousness. But today, the human couple recognized by these associations or churches, these spiritual shops, is to succeed. And when they say succeed, they mean to give your husband or your wife good sex of 3 to 4 rounds. The man has to make sure the lady reaches orgasm to prove that he is a man, and both of them should acquire material wealth and have cars and houses. See, today, the real vulgar sense of human couples, you see them on TikTok. Success is to have a house and cars and to wear the same kind of t-shirts with the same name, hubby, boo, this kind of stupidity. Even sexuality is misunderstood. Sexuality has become a place to satisfy fleshly desires, but rather, sexuality for spiritual men and women is an exchange of energies of love, energies of purity, and to help other souls that come into your union as children to continue their spiritual apprentice on earth. See therefore the sense of marriage and the sense of sexuality. Sexuality, when you come together with your wife, it is because from the start you love her. You have worked your chakras. You are in a disposition of purity and light. And when you engage in the act of sex, so you can be able to pass your spiritual experience to her. The act of sex is done for that, to exchange spiritual energies. The sexual act, yes, evidently there is pleasure in it that we feel physically, but that is secondary to the real goal of the sexual activity. But today, the act is done in dirtiness, the act is done in adultery, fornication, masturbation. We do not know the sense of sexual act anymore. Animals do it to be able to produce. We also do it to be able to have children, yes, but we do it primarily to be able to exchange our energies. But what energies do you have? You have dirtiness, you sleep with someone, you give your debt to them, and the person gives you their debt. You will see an old man, because he has money, he takes a small girl who is 15 or 16 years old and sleeps with her and lives for her all sort of masks and dirty phantoms and demons. See how we have profaned these activities. Point number 5, my dear brothers and sisters, in the relationship between these activities, one wants to dominate the other. Chineke. Man wants to dominate his wife. The wife wants to make the man submit to her to satisfy her egocentric needs. And all these disruptions because of the actual civilization that people like to call development and modernity, and all of African politicians, all the men of the states in Africa want to copy the stupidity and nonsense of the civilization of the West and transpose it into Africa because they do not understand the word of the Most High. The intellect has therefore taken the human spirit as a prisoner, and we have built, ladies and gentlemen, a civilization of violence. Power has become the capacity to keep others in submission, while in Africa, power was the capacity to help others become the best version of themselves, like how we are doing here at Zola Bantu, to help you to become spiritual men and women. Zola Bantu is powerful if we can be able to win people for the Most High, but to build weapons of mass destruction, it is weakness, it is not strength. So love has become a mere sexual act. See therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, the four of these activities of the human spirit. The caste and the clans have no sense. People marry in disorder. There are Congolese who marry Vietnamese and Chinese and Japanese and Hindus. There are a Vietnamese marries an Australian. We do not know what we are doing. What is the criteria of choice and why? You marry an American because he has a mansion. We have profaned marriage. Marriage is no longer a union of activities, but marriage is now a union of how to better acquire material riches and satisfy your sexual desires and sexual imaginations or fantasies, my dear brothers and sisters. Now the question many of you may have in your head is, should you marry out of your race? My dear brothers and sisters, follow us carefully. The goal of marriage is a union of the two activities, the union of the feminine activity and the masculine activity. It means the woman, through her initiation, has developed her femininity, her feminine activity. It means to be the guardian of the sacred flame. And the man, throughout his initiation, has developed the masculine activity. It means to build the tabernacle of the Most High on earth. Well, in one moment, in order to be able to enter into the life of adulthood, man and woman unite these two activities. The man says, Mama, please come to help me to be the servant of the Most High in nature. Is this what guides us to marry when we marry Chinese? Is this what guides us to marry when we marry Japanese and Hindus? Here at Zola Bantu, we are the core foundational questions. We are not in the form. You come to see that when you go and look for a partner outside of your race, often is not to unite the activities. Here at Zola Bantu, we are basically in a new paradigm. So there is a need that tomorrow, in a civilization of light, that marriage should return to its fundamentals. Say you meet an Indian that has developed basically the feminine activities. You have developed the masculine activities. You come together. It is good. But now, where will you live? You will transmit to the children what culture? What will you sow in the life of these children? You see? These are questions we have to ask. And if we ask ourselves these questions, you come to see that certain things that we did back in the days, today when we were spiritual men and women, we will no longer do it, because we do not transfer to children just by giving them food and school fees. You need to transfer to children spiritual values. And is the woman prepared to transmit these spiritual values that you're about to marry? Is she even there? You see? So finally, today, marriage has become a place to accumulate, to haves, and for sex. The curiosity to know the other. How do Chinese or white people taste sexually? And this is not what marriage is. See what we're teaching you on profanation. The profanation of these activities has led us to marriages that should not have taken place, because we were simply not spiritual men and women. And today we have changed the debate, and the debate has become, are mixed kids much better? That is not the debate. The debate is, does your marriage meet the goal of the Most High? If our marriages does not meet the goal of the Most High, well, everything that follows is nothing. And what we are saying also applies to marriages between black people. A black person who marries a black person, but their union is not in the plan of the Most High, it's a failure, because they have created a union to meet material needs, but to acquire material wealth. You don't need to marry. If I need to buy a house, I don't need to marry. We marry instead so that both partners can be able to help each other in their spiritual activities. The woman has a big homework to open her chakras, to place cleanness in her different bodies, and the man should also do the same thing, so that even their sexual act that they engage in can be a transmission of clean energies. When we engage in sexual act today, we simply do it for animal pleasures. Here we're in initiation, my dear brothers and sisters. We are in the eternal gospel. We have raised the bar very high. We are pushing you to think and reflect, to attain the higher authors, to change our paradigm, to be able to finally build a new civilization. We are not in the approach of is marriage between a Congolese and a Belgian right. No, that is not our goal. Our goal is to make you understand the feminine and the masculine spiritual activities, to make you understand what is the goal of these activities. And then you'll be able to interrogate the sense of your union, your cell. What is the sense of your atom? Have you come together to help each other spiritually, or is your atom stuck in a material state? Well, if that's the case, everything that is temporary passes by, and your atom will have no sense. See, so here at Zola Bantu, my dear brothers and sisters, we are basically questioning the current civilization to point out the profanation of these spiritual activities because of this egocentric material civilization that is only centered on the accumulation of two halves. See therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, the profanation and the destruction of these two activities. We see the emergence of this profanation and destruction everywhere in the universe. The forms are deformed everywhere in the universe. There are deformations as a consequence. Deformations of the mental form. Mad people have increased because the mental body is deformed, and there are people that have become schizophrenic, a disorder that affects a person's ability to think and feel and behave clearly. Schizophrenia develops, psychiatric diseases. There are sicknesses that we see today, my dear brothers and sisters, because we are vibrating in low frequencies in our civilization. Even deformation of physical forms like handicapped, and all these are decay of humanity that basically manifest in a bad mental and astrophysical forms. Deformations in the family, homosexual that we see today in heavy numbers, and the fallen law that is there to support such things. All these are deformation that show the profanation of these activities. Deformation of the organization of the state, like dictators, powers dictated by the majority like in democracy. Instead, power needs to be dictated by the laws of the Most High. Even the principle of governance is deformed. The deformation of demographics, the deformation of social activities. We make social activities to produce arms of war, to produce NGOs, to produce pesticides that are basically killing the ecological environment. All these are a result of the deformation of the masculine and the feminine activities that bring about these consequences. In conclusion, everything has to become new. All the deformation that humans have planted need to be destroyed for the goal of a new formation in the reign of peace on earth. There's a need for men and women of a goodwill to search and form an alliance with light to form a new civilization. Those that will continue to deform will go to lower astral world, and they will not be able to participate in the reign of Kwatulendo. See therefore, we end here in our class number 41, the profanation of the masculine and the feminine activity. Thank you so much, my dear brothers and sisters. You have then understood that in this class that we are basically have a big and heavy responsibility. We are spirits. We live in 3 bodies. We actually have 9 bodies, but we basically spoke to you just about 3 of them. They're basically active at the moment. We need to manage it in the right way. And to manage these bodies, well, there's a need for our spirit to pilot these bodies. How do we pilot the mental body? Many of you don't know. How do you pilot the astral body? How do you pilot the physical body? You don't know. We send our children to school. They fill them with so many unnecessary things and theories and doctrines in their head, a certain amount of information, and you're satisfied because they've given your child a degree or a high school diploma. But this child ignores even that he or she is a spirit. And tomorrow he will unite in marriage to a girl because that girl has nice legs or walks nicely, because that girl has a degree in law, or because that girl comes from a well-to-do family, and he gets into a marriage that does not know how to consult to find out the person who created marriage, the Most High. He created that atom for what? You see, we're in a sick civilization. We're completely lost. See why the eternal gospel arrived to help you to ask existential questions, and from these existential questions, you may find the appropriate answers and give a sense to your life, give a sense to your family, give a sense to your regions, give a sense to your state, because the Most High placed us somewhere. Why do you have a black skin? Why were you not born Chinese? It means you have a responsibility in respect to the black race. It means we have a duty to cultivate light in the African space. So there is a logic in what the Most High has done. But if you want to build from your own head, yes, you may do something like you have done today, but you will fail in the end. One day you arrive at a realization that in vain you build if the Most High has not built. The one that builds in vain. Build your house on the rock, not on the sand. Humanity has worked in vain because we have not understood nothing of our presence on earth. It is a fundamental class that basically tries to wake up the feminine and the masculine activity and tells you the sense of marriage and why we marry. In our next class, number 42, we shall speak about basically in our next class 42, we shall basically speak upon an amazing topic, very, very important: honor father and mother, the principle of light on how to educate our children. Bible says in Exodus 20, it says one of the commandments, honor your father and your mother, but it was misunderstood and not written in the right way. We shall find out in our next class. Children should honor you, parents, or you should be the one to honor the principle of fatherhood and the principle of mother. We love you so much. Thank you so much for those who have followed us carefully. We are making an effort to be able to present these every Sunday. At the meantime, while we try to see how we can come back to our lives, but because of the electricity and the network issues, it might take some time. But we love you so much. Thank you so much. Send in your questions by mail or WhatsApp. Text us and write to us. Comment. We'll be able to reply to you. We love you so much. Try to be able to understand. Watch this session even 3 times to understand what is masculinity and what is femininity. We love you so much at Zola Bantu. Until we meet you in our next class, honor father and mother, the foundation and the principle of light on how to educate our children. Kisses. Mwah.
We are Zola Bantu. We live in love, we live in purity, we live in justice. We are priests, we are scientists, we are judges. The 3 pillars of spirituality. We bring together the best of us, we build together, we don't destroy.